everyone, and welcome back to While You Were Cleaning. Today I am very excited to be sharing some Dollar Tree Coastal Decor DIYs with you. I am really excited about how each of these projects have turned out, and I can't wait for you to see them. I also am very excited about today's video because it is a collab video with Sarah from the Pajama Crafts YouTube channel. Sarah's channel is very similar to mine. We share very similar DIYs in that we tried to make them simple and affordable for you. And Sarah and I are also very similar as we are both moms running YouTube channels at home with our kids. Sarah has also shared a coastal decor DIY video today, and so I hope that you will go and check out her channel and watch that video. We both brought some different DIYs to this collab so that you have several options to choose from to make some coastal decor for your home. And I think that this is the perfect time of the year to share these type of DIYs because we are moving into the summertime and people are thinking a little bit more along the lines of coastal or nautical decor. So I will link Sarah's channel up here and down in the description box, and I will also put the link to her DIY video from today at the end of this video and in the description box so that you can hopefully find it really easily. Please make sure you check out her channel and watch that video. I hope you enjoy today's video. If you do, please hit that like button, please comment and subscribe, and we'll go ahead and get started. I first want to share the DIY for a pair of coasters, and I'm going to use some nautical rope to put these together. So they normally have this brown rope at Dollar Tree, and then I recently found the cream colored one as well. And these coasters are very simple to put together. You're just going to start in the center of your circle. You'll add glue as you're going around and just keep the rope nice and tight together. I did cut the rope to 32 inches for both the dark brown and the cream colored coasters, just so you know the length on that. But I was trying to go off of a size that would be good for some of my favorite mugs that I use all the time for coffee. So you may want to adjust this size a little bit larger or smaller depending on where you're going to be using it. You'll put the cream colored coaster together in the same way as you did the brown one. The only difference is that this rope frays a lot easier than the brown one does. So you'll want to add a little bit extra hot glue to where all of those little rope pieces come together, so that they don't stick out all over the place. So just kind of glue them together and keep the end from fraying. Also, this rope is a little bit thicker than what the brown one is. So even though they were both cut to the same length at the beginning, this coaster ends up being just a little bit bigger than the brown one. And here you can see how it fits perfectly underneath one of my favorite mugs. I really love the way that these coasters turned out, and I have been needing some, and they also would be a really simple gift to make for somebody. You can make a set of 4, whether they're mismatched or the same colors. For my next DIY, you'll again need some of this nautical rope. You can use either of the colors, and then you'll also need a round mirror. You could probably use a square one as well, whatever you can find at Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to pop this mirror out of its frame. And then I cut 3 different rope pieces, all at 32 inches long. And here I know it's not showing quite to 32 inches, but that's what they ended up being. And then I'm just going to tie the ends of these together with a piece of twine just to keep them from moving around. For the next step, we're just going to braid these 3 pieces of rope together in one long braid. So this is very simple to do. If you've never braided before, all you need to do is just move the outside right over top of the centerpiece, outside left over the top of the centerpiece, and then just keep repeating that. Outside right over the center, outside left over the center, all the way till you get to the end of your rope pieces. If you need to, you can use another piece of twine to hold the end of this braid together, but otherwise we're just going to go ahead and start gluing it right onto our mirror, and you're just going to want to line up the outside of the braid with the outside of this cardboard piece. So I added the glue right along the inside of the mirror because I wanted to make sure that that stayed in place. And then I added it all over the cardboard piece and then just glued it all the way around the mirror. Once you've glued all the way around the mirror, you're going to cut off that twine piece, and then you're going to cut off these ends of the rope here, and we're just going to glue those down onto the cardboard and the mirror just so that they're laying nice and flat. You'll want to make sure that you add some glue to the ends of these little rope pieces because, like I said before, they do fray all over the place. So make sure that you glue those down. And then this side was a little bit trickier. I wanted to make sure I didn't have all these little fray pieces sticking out all over the place. So you'll just want to trim off each piece and glue it down as you go. I did use the end of my scissors so I didn't burn my fingers with the hot glue. And then you can try to tuck those ends underneath some of the rope from the other side of your braid, if that makes sense. So then you can barely notice that you have the end there, and then this is what the finished mirror looks like. Next, I use this wire jute cord to make a simple decorative ball. Now this one's a little bit hard to explain, so to start off, I made 2 circles of the same size and had them going in opposite directions so they kind of make an X if you're looking at the top of them. And then I secured them together by feeding that cord back through the middle. And then this way I had kind of a base to go off of in order to keep wrapping this wire jute cord around itself so that it would come out looking like a ball shape instead of being all wonky looking. Once I had the jute cord wrapped in the same direction a few times, I went about halfway down one of the wires and secured the wire there so that I could start wrapping this cord in the other direction. And then I just held it in place and just finished out the cord, wrapping it around in a circle. And thankfully, because this is wire, it's really easy to adjust all the little wires to make it into a nice round shape. And here's how that looks all finished. You could make this in several different sizes as well for your coastal decor. This next project is a fun one that I've been wanting to do for a while now. I used a bottle that I already had on hand and then some twine. And what we're going to be doing is adding some rope to the outside of this bottle. So I started with a nice long piece that I could tie around the mouth of the bottle. And then I cut several shorter pieces. These are still long enough. They're at least twice as long as what the bottle is. And I'm going to be looping these around that original cord and tying them in place. So I just put the loop up behind underneath the cord and then pulled my 2 end pieces back up through the loop. And I did this for all of my little pieces. I did end up first off doing 7 of these extra pieces tied on, and then I changed that to 5 because 7 was just too many for this small bottle. Next, I secured all of the little knots in place at the top of this bottle using just a small dot of hot glue. For this project, you could use any bottle or jar or vase that you already have on hand. Now we're going to begin tying these together. So you want to pull cords from 2 different knots. You want to pull them together and then tie them in a knot. And what this does is it creates this little triangle shape at the top here, and it's pulling the 2 cords from the 2 separate knots. If you tied the cords from the same knot, you wouldn't really have all of this decorative detail to it. So you'll just want to work your way around the top of the bottle, tying these little knots as you go, pulling 2 cords, one from one knot that you secured to the top and one from the other knot, and then just work your way all the way around the top of the bottle until you've finished. And then this is what it's going to look like. And what you're going to do again is just keep tying those same knots in the same way that you just did. Pull a cord from 2 different knots that you made, And now you can see how it's making this diamond shape, where at the top it made a little triangle shape. For the rest of the bottle, it will make these diamond shapes, and you'll just keep tying in knots again as you work your way around the bottle until you've finished a second row of these knots. Depending on what size glass container you use, you may need to add more cords coming down from the mouth of the container, just depending on how big it is. You could also use some thicker twine for this. I just used some that I got from Dollar Tree. This would probably also work with some rope. It would just take a lot more rope than twine. It might be a little bit harder to work with as well. But as you can see, I just keep making these knots as I work my way down the bottle. And they do kind of scrunch up a little bit, so you want to make sure you pull them down so that you can see what it looks like when they're all stretched out, so you know when to stop tying knots. And I stopped tying knots when they were long enough to reach up underneath the bottle and sit where my bottle kind of recesses a little bit. And then I went through and I cut off one cord that was sticking out from each of my knots. That way I was just left with one cord after the last set of knots that I made. And then this way I could take the opposite cords from across the bottle from each other, tie those in a knot in the center so that it holds all of my cords nice and tight around to the bottom of the bottle. And here's what that project looks like all finished. I just added a little bit of greenery to the top. You could just leave it the way it is without adding any greenery, and you could do several different size bottles and group them together. For my last project today, we're going to be making a wreath using a wreath form and some of these wood stems from Dollar Tree. Now, you may not find this exact wreath form at your store, but they do have grapevine wreaths and willow wreaths pretty often. You can also find the green styrofoam wreaths. If you use one of those, I would just make sure it's kind of a dark brown color so that you can't really see any of the gaps that might be between these little wood pieces. If you do get one of those green styrofoam wreaths or one of the lighter willow wreaths, just hit it with some brown spray paint or some dark green spray paint just to make it less noticeable between the wood pieces. These wood pieces come in 3 different sizes in the store, and these are the longer, more narrow wood pieces that I could find. And if you don't want to purchase wood pieces or you're not able to find these, you could always chop up some branches from your yard as well, and those would work just as well. I did end up using 2 bags of the wood stems in order to complete this project. I used my hot glue gun on low temp so that the glue would dry a lot faster and I wouldn't have to hold the wood pieces in place for so long. And I also switched up the direction as I was working my way around the wreath so that the wood had a little bit of variance to it. I really love the way that this wreath turned out, and I like how it has a little bit of a driftwood look to it, and I feel like it's very coastal. And here's the finished wreath. You could also add some seashells to this. You can find those at Dollar Tree. They also have some nautical wood pieces in the craft aisle that you could add to this as well. And those are all the projects that I have to share with you in today's video. Please remember to go check out Sarah's channel, Pajama Crafts, and watch her Coastal Decor DIY video as well for more ideas. Thank you so much for watching today, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!